Hello everyone! In case you're wondering why I'm looking nice, well, I'm heading to school in a little bit. I might as well get this review out of the way, so let's get going. If you're familiar with what I've been doing for my past few videos, I'm basically doing something different on my channel. I mean, I'm doing some more related to gaming. I mean, I do post stuff from once in a while, but let's get on topic. I said I was going to review a Star Wars book, and I'm going to do that in Legends canon. So if you're in for the new stuff, I'm sorry, but you're not going to get it here. So I'm not going to say this more than once. Hopefully. I'm going to review Vector Prime by R.A. Salador. I don't have much experience reviewing books. I never did it, actually. So whatever criticisms you have, I would appreciate it, because, some of these names are kind of hard to pronounce. If you've read the expanded universe like I have, you would know what I'm talking about. Now, how is Vector Prime? Well, I talked about the book a little bit in my last video, but if you haven't watched that video, I'm just gonna tell you, I love its Vector Prime. I thought it was a great addition to the Star Wars universe. Honestly, I mean, before this book came out, things were getting a little stale in the expanded universe. Yeah, you can have Imperial remnants do this and do that, and all this other stuff. Don't get me wrong, there are other books that don't deal with that, but mind you, those books are hard to come by these days. I'm going by the Junior Jedi Knight books. And it's refreshing to see a new enemy. Something that is different from the Empire. Because a good chunk of the New Republic era, a lot of it is dealing with Imperial remnants. And when you get enemies that don't revolve around the Empire, it's really refreshing. And I'm more a fan of the Star Wars stories, that at least the books that take place as far away from the movies as possible. And even though the big three are still in this, they're not as heavily used like they are in the New Republic era. In this book, we had characters like Anakin Solo was probably one of the lead characters in this book, which was a huge plus, because I haven't read Junior Jedi Knight, so I don't know much about him in those books, but to see him center stage, at least one of them, was pretty awesome, honestly. And the conflict between Jason and Anakin regarding how to use the Force was also an interesting approach, because it shows the differences between the characters. And the character development in this book was pretty well done, and so a lot of other stuff have happened. I thought the villains in this book were really interesting. I can't wait to see more of them. And what's the general plot? Well, I'm going to give a rundown, because I'm going to do this to avoid spoilers. Trust me. The main spoiler you probably are going to know is a certain character dies in this book, but if you don't know who it is, and I'm not going to... I will say it, but I'm warning you now, it will be a spoiler. Anyway, what happens in this book is generally Leia, along with Mara Jade, and her a Padawan. Well, they don't use the term Padawan, but I'm using the term because, well, to explain the term Padawan, this was probably released, correct me if I'm wrong, before Episode 1 was released in theaters. So the term Padawan wasn't used yet. So anyone who tries to pick a contradiction, you gotta understand there's reasons why, but I'm not there defending the supposed contradictions in the EU in this video. Anyway, they meet Nom Honor, who's basically, they're trying to stop a conflict going on between these two planets. Which are very hard to pronounce, so I'm not going to sound like a dumbass to pronounce them here, but let's just say war is going to happen between these planets. And Lucas in this is trying to rebuild the Jedi Council, because the prequel trilogy, I'm pretty sure this was released after Episode 1 or slightly before, have the Jedi Council, and in order to keep things in order within the Jedi Order, a Jedi Council is needed. And amongst many other things. And just the interactions with everyone. One of my favorite moments of this book was the interaction with the Skywalkers and the Solos, as family. Because there really isn't that many moments you see them in the New Republic era. And to see them have those kind of family moments was really refreshing for me. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens in the other books, which makes it so, you don't really see that many family moments. And honestly, I appreciate that. Honestly. And the interaction with Chewie and Anakin Solo was another sight to behold. But and all that other stuff that's happened, I love the new designs, at least at the time, for the fighters that the Yuuzhan Vong used. It was different than what we see from the Imperials, the Confederacy, and I'm looking forward to learning more about these. These beings, these race that came from another galaxy. And one thing I liked really much about this book is, at least this series so far, the Yuuzhan Vong are a threat to the Jedi. And don't get me wrong, the Empire were a threat, but the thing is that the Force isn't with the Yuuzhan Vong. They exist outside the Force. And I found that very interesting. Because to me, that makes it seem like, with the fact they're a threat to the Jedi, a lot more interesting. And at this part of the expanded universe, you don't really have a conflict between the Jedi and the Sith. A common misconception among EU haters. Yeah, and as for this book, it got a lot of hate when it came out because it did something different. Star Wars fans, honestly, didn't like the fact how different it was, and the fact that it was dark. And honestly, I'm gonna be someone who's read a lot of the EU. It can't be like the original trilogy forever. I'm sorry. I love the movies. I think they're really good movies. Well, I wouldn't say really good, but it was good for the time. But Star Wars needed to grow up. It needed to show that the franchise needed to grow. It needed to have new stuff added to it. And keeping things like the original trilogy in terms of tone would have gotten really dull, really fast. And I was glad that the EU writers actually changed it up. Of course, I read dark books before, but this isn't the first, with the very fact that this is what opened it up for such stories. I can understand not everyone likes dark stories. I mean, my favorite moment from this book was the death of Chewbacca. I know I may get hate for that, but I don't hate Chewie. He's one of my favorite characters, but it was the reaction to everyone's seeing everyone's reaction to his death was pretty heartbreaking. Honestly, it really was. You could feel what they were feeling. I mean, Chewie, it was pretty sad. I would be lying to say I didn't shed a tear or two when Chewie died, and when Han's reaction to it. I mean, Han Solo, he hasn't fully come to terms with it in this, but by the end of the book. And in fact, the Solo kids, if you've read up until this point, you would understand why Chewie is like their family. Even Mora, who isn't overly emotional, was cried when she found out the news. And it just goes to show you how much of a family these characters really were, and that when someone from the family dies, how much it affected them. It just shows you how alive the Star Wars universe really is. And sorry, but just because you see something on film doesn't mean it's as organic as the expanded universe. You can only do so much in a movie. You really can. Star Wars, the original trilogy is and the prequel trilogy, the amount of storytelling that I've read from the EU so far, it's far better than that. I'm looking forward to reading more. But I'm going to backtrack a little bit before I read Onslaught, which takes place after that. And the book I plan on reading will be, it's about a character that will play a big role in the next book. I actually want to know something about him first. Corran Horn. This is Jedi, which, what I've read of it so far, it's pretty good. It actually enriches the Jedi Academy trilogy. I'll talk about the Jedi Academy trilogy and this book in my next video. So, as for my first review, Matt Wilkins, if you're watching this, which I'm pretty sure you are, and along with any other people in the Star Wars fan community, tell me what you think. This is Darth Sinovia, over and out. Long live the EU Alliance, and may the Force be with you.